For nearly 2 decades, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban were celebrated as one of Hollywood's most enduring love stories, a union of film and music, glamour and country charm. Their relationship seemed to embody stability in an industry often defined by fleeting romances. From their wedding in Sydney back in 2006 to the many red carpet appearances where they stood side by side, the couple became synonymous with partnership, devotion, and resilience. Fans admired not only their public affection, but also the way they weathered storms together, with Urban openly crediting Kidman for standing by him through his personal battles. But behind the dazzling smiles and carefully curated snapshots of happiness, change was quietly unfolding. By the summer of 2025, whispers began to circulate, hinting at distance between the two. Friends noticed fewer joint appearances, fewer declarations of unity, and a noticeable shift in tone. What once seemed unbreakable began to look uncertain. And then, in late September, those whispers turned into headlines. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban had separated after 19 years of marriage. This revelation sent shockwaves through Hollywood and beyond. For admirers who had long seen the pair as proof that celebrity marriages could endure, the news was not just surprising, it was disheartening. What followed was a story of resilience, of heartbreak, and of two global icons navigating the unraveling of a life built together. The official word came at the end of September 2025. What had lingered as quiet speculation among friends and industry insiders suddenly broke into the open, carried by major outlets like People and TMZ. After months of whispers, it was confirmed Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban had separated. The revelation marked the end of a chapter that had lasted 19 years, an entire era in the public eye. According to reports, the decision was largely driven by Urban, who had already moved into a separate home in Nashville earlier that summer. By the time the news went public, the separation was no longer new to those closest to the couple. Friends noted that the signs had been present for months, even years: missed appearances, long stretches apart, and subtle silences where once there had been openness. For the wider world, however, the confirmation was a moment of disbelief. Neither Kidman nor Urban released an immediate statement, leaving room for speculation and a heavy silence that seemed to speak louder than words. Fans flooded social media, some expressing sadness, others sharing disbelief that a couple so admired could reach such a turning point. The announcement became more than a headline. It became a collective pause, a reminder of how fragile even the strongest bonds can appear under the weight of time, fame, and private struggle. With the story now public, attention shifted from rumor to reality, and the world waited to see what would follow. As the initial shock settled, more details began to surface about the timeline of the separation. Reports revealed that the split had quietly taken root in early summer 2025, months before the public ever knew. By then, Keith Urban had already moved out of the family's Nashville home, establishing himself in a separate residence. It was a symbolic and practical shift that signaled the beginning of a new reality for both. Nicole Kidman, meanwhile, remained in the family home with their daughters, Sunday Rose, now 17, and Faith Margaret, 14. For Kidman, the children became her anchor as she navigated the weight of both public scrutiny and personal heartbreak. Friends close to the couple say the girls' well-being was at the center of every decision, with both parents determined to shield them as much as possible from the glare of publicity. The choice to live apart underscored a truth that could no longer be hidden. The marriage was no longer what it had once been. What had appeared, from the outside, as one of Hollywood's rare enduring unions had been quietly unraveling in private. The distance between them, once physical, was now unmistakably emotional. And while the world was just beginning to process the news, for Kidman and Urban, the separation was already their lived reality. Behind the headlines, another story emerged, one of determination and quiet resistance. According to those close to her, Nicole Kidman had not wanted this separation. For her, the marriage represented not just love, but stability, family, and a bond she had fought hard to preserve. Friends describe her as fighting to save it, making every effort to bridge the growing distance between herself and Keith Urban. Kidman's resilience, however, was met with a reality she could not control. Urban, it seemed, had already made up his mind, leaving her to confront a painful truth. Still, she leaned heavily on her inner circle, particularly her sister Antonia, who became a pillar of strength during the transition. Surrounded by family, Nicole drew comfort in the familiar rhythms of home life, even as the foundation of her marriage began to crumble. For fans and admirers, the revelation that Kidman had tried to hold on only deepened the sadness of the story. It wasn't just the end of a marriage. It was the image of one partner striving to keep the dream alive while the other quietly walked away. The contrast between her unwavering efforts and the inevitability of the separation added a poignant layer to an already heartbreaking narrative. To understand the weight of this separation, one must revisit the beginning of their story. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban first crossed paths in 2005, two stars from different worlds drawn together by a spark that quickly grew into something lasting. Just a year later, in June 2006, they married in Sydney, Australia, in a ceremony that captured global attention. It seemed like the perfect pairing, an acclaimed actress with an Academy Award to her name, and a country music star whose songs resonated with millions. Over the years, their relationship became a beacon of hope in Hollywood. Urban often credited Kidman for helping him through his struggles with addiction, while she spoke of their bond as a partnership built on unwavering support. Together, they raised two daughters and balanced demanding careers with a shared devotion to family life. Publicly, they radiated strength, often appearing inseparable at events, holding hands, smiling, and reinforcing the image of a couple who had found the secret to lasting love. Yet, as time went on, cracks began to show, subtle at first, then more visible to those closest to them. Fewer joint appearances, long stretches apart, and a quiet distance that friends interpreted as more than just busy schedules. For those in Urban's inner circle, the eventual announcement of their separation did not come as a shock. To them, it felt inevitable, a slow unraveling of a love story that had once seemed unshakable. Even with the separation confirmed, much about Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's future remains uncertain. As of now, there has been no official word on whether the couple will move toward divorce or choose to remain legally married while living separate lives. Their silence on the matter has left both fans and the media in a state of speculation, with questions swirling about custody, finances, and how they plan to move forward as individuals and parents. What is clear, however, is their shared commitment to their daughters. Both Kidman and Urban are determined to provide stability for Sunday, Rose, and Faith Margaret, ensuring that the family bond remains intact despite the marital fracture. Beyond that, the path forward is shrouded in ambiguity. Will Kidman retreat further into her craft, channeling personal pain into her performances? Will Urban pour his energy into music, using the stage as both escape and expression? For now, the answers remain untold. What began as one of Hollywood's most admired romances has now entered a new, uncertain chapter. And as the world watches, the story of Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban continues to unfold, not as the fairy tale it once seemed, but as a very human tale of love, struggle, and the complexity of letting go. And so, the story of Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban, a love that once felt unshakable, now stands at a crossroads. For 19 years, they gave the world a glimpse of devotion, of partnership, and of two stars balancing fame with family. But even the strongest bonds can bend under the quiet pressures of time and change. Their separation is not just the end of a Hollywood chapter. It is a reminder that behind the cameras and the red carpets, they too are human, facing heartbreak, resilience, and the unknown future that lies ahead. As fans, we can only respect their journey and wish them peace as they move forward in their own ways. What happens next remains uncertain, but one truth is clear. Their story has left a lasting mark, both on the screen and on the stage, and in the hearts of those who believed in their love. Thank you for watching. If you found this story insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the real stories behind the headlines. Until next time, stay tuned, stay curious, and remember, every story has more than one side.